This session is sponsored by Kirkland and Ellis.
I want to thank everyone for joining us today. My name is Rahul Vashi. I'm a partner at the law firm of Kirkland and Ellis here in Houston, Texas, where I focus my practice on A&D in the upstream and energy spaces with a heavy emphasis on private equity investments. And like a lot of you, over the last year, I've been very curious to see the evolution of the private equity industry in the oil patch. And among the questions that I've had were, where are private equity firms finding the most return on their investment? Where are they looking to deploy capital? How are they seeing their portfolios evolve over time? And with questions like those, I'm very happy to introduce you to our group of panelists today who bring considerable experience and a variety of perspectives on investing in the upstream space. With that, please say hello to Mark Burroughs, Managing Director at EnCap Investments. We have Paul Lee, Entrepreneur in Residence at Tailwater Capital, Vignesh Proddaturi, Managing Partner at Glendale Energy Capital, and Mark Teshoian, Managing Partner at Kayne Anderson Capital Advisors. Gents, I'll turn it over to you if you could take a few minutes to introduce yourselves to the audience.
Thank you, guys. I'll kick it off. So I'm Mark Burroughs with EnCap Investments. I've been at EnCap about 13 years, and prior to that, I was an investment banker focused on the oil and gas sector. EnCap has three platforms. We have upstream, midstream, energy transition. I spend the majority amount of my time on the E&P side, and we've got about 20 portfolio companies operating around the U.S. So my job is really to work with those companies from, inception, help grow them, and eventually exit. So happy to be here.
I'm Paul Lee. I joined Tailwater Capital about 8 months ago, and I come from the operating side of the business, upstream, E&P primarily, and some midstream through different companies like Pioneer. We had some midstream assets, and Tailwater is primarily focused on infrastructure and infrastructure and midstream. We do have a couple of sister funds which are in the non-op business, and so we kind of call it the full immersion of exposure to the energy business. And I've been brought on to wear all hats Tailwater, but also spearhead the effort around upstream operated, which is a new strategy for Tailwater that we're looking at hard.
Hello, I'm Vignesh with Glendale Energy Capital. I'm one of the co-founders. We started Glendale about 4 years back. We are purely focused on upstream, E&P exploration, production, and like minerals. We work with multiple funds and also with like family offices. So it's like a dual strategy. Our focus right now is mainly part in the Haynesville. We have done a couple of drill codes there. We're also buying like minerals in Haynesville, and then also focus on like aggregating smaller deals so we can sell to the bigger guys. That's the focus of the movement. When we work with the bigger funds, we are also focused on like larger acquisitions. We are more like return driven and basin agnostic.
My name is Mark Teshoian. I'm a managing partner over at Kayne Anderson Capital Advisors. If I can, I'd like to just copy and paste Mark's backgrounds because it sounds exactly like mine. 13 years in private equity, former investment banker at Credit Suisse and Goldman. We manage primarily upstream investments. We have about 20 active portfolio companies as well. I focus almost exclusively on upstream. Within our business, we have two kind of verticals. One that has historically been focused on traditional private equity, which is more of the kind of lease acreage, drill a handful of wells and sell it. Then we have another strategy that is an income strategy that's focused on larger assets, more heavily weighted towards PDP, cash flowing businesses, and have had that business up and running since 2014.
Great. Thanks, guys. I want to set some ground rules here, let you know how this will go going forward. I have a few questions for you all. I'll direct the questions to one of you initially. But after the initial response, to keep things conversational, feel free, the rest of you, if you have any additional thoughts or things that you would like to point out, we'll save some time for that as well. So let's jump in. First question, Mark Burroughs, for you. What developments are you seeing in the private investor base in the oil and gas sector? And do you see the field of players changing? Either has it already changed or do you see it changing over time?
Yeah, good question. I'll answer it from kind of the GP and LP perspective. So, you know, as we all know, there's a big scarcity for private capital in the oil and gas space today. I think from a GP perspective, you know, we've seen private equity firms pull back on some of the commitments. We've seen private equity firms pull completely out of the space. You know, for us on this panel, I think that fires us up because for those that are really focused on, you know, E&P and midstream and have capital and have teams out there, you know, we're excited about the opportunity to go capture, you know, assets. So that's GP. From the LP perspective, energy is definitely less important. I mean, we all know money's been lost in the sector. You know, distributions have been lacking over the last couple of years. LPs, rightfully so, are focused on ESG climate initiatives. And so there's just been less demand for oil and gas. I think, you know, we've seen some LPs essentially, we see that small amounts say they're going to pull out. But for the most part, I think our LPs have been very supportive. So again, we're excited about kind of the opportunity, you know, going forward, but I'll throw it out to you guys if you have anything to add.
I agree with Mark. You know, it's a very interesting time to be in investing in oil and gas. There's been